Have you ever looked at a piece of land and thought, I wonder if I could turn that into something profitable? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're digging deep into the world of high-value crops, and I'm going to give you the complete blueprint, from the big picture strategy all the way to the moment you get your hands dirty. So, you're looking to grow something that gives you more than just a nice harvest. You want something with real, tangible value. You've definitely come to the right place. See, this is about more than just gardening. It's about smart agriculture. And that whole journey from one tiny seed to a strong, valuable plant, well, it all starts right here, right now.
All right, here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to figure out how to choose the right crop for you based on some really smart site selection. Then, we'll get into what I think is the foundation for all success in farming, picking out a quality seed. After that, we'll get practical and walk through building the perfect nursery. And to wrap it all up, we're going to pull it all together into a super simple, actionable plan you can start using pretty much immediately.
So, where on earth do you begin? Look, before you even think about buying a single seed, you've got to answer the most important question. What does your local market actually want? In farming, success really starts with understanding your location, your climate, and the demand right outside your door.
Now this isn't just a list, okay? Think of it as a strategic map. Just look at how different regions in the Philippines have totally different agricultural sweet spots. Up in Ilocos, the market loves garlic and mango, but in the Cordilleras, it's all about highland veggies and coffee. By planting what your region is already known for, you're tapping into an existing market and a climate you know works. That gives you a huge head start.
And check this out. See how fast things can move? This number, 194.3%, represents a massive, massive surge in onion production in just one province, Pangasinan, in a single quarter. It's incredible. When that local demand lines up perfectly with the right growing conditions, the results can be absolutely explosive. And that right there is why keeping an eye on market trends is so critical.
Okay, so you've picked your crop. Awesome. Now comes what is, without a doubt, the single most important investment you're going to make. Your entire harvest, all your potential profit, it all boils down to the quality of that tiny little seed you start with. This is the one area where you just can't afford to cut corners.
So what do we mean by a quality seed? Really, it's like a promise of performance. Genetic purity just means the tomato you plant is the exact tomato you're going to harvest. A high germination potential means more of your seeds will actually sprout, not just, sit there doing nothing. And maybe most important of all, it's clean. It's free from any hidden diseases that could wipe out your whole crop.
So, where do you even find these amazing seeds? Well, here are some of the big players in the Philippines. You've got companies like Allied Botanical, who are total experts at breeding for the local tropical climate. Then there's East West Seed, which is a go-to for high-performance hybrids. Knowing who specializes in what helps you find the absolute best possible start for whatever crop you've chosen. We've got our top-notch seeds, and now it's time for the really fun, hands-on part. We need to create the perfect home for them to get started in. Seriously, think of your nursery as a 5-star hotel for seeds. It's designed to give them every little thing they need to germinate and get strong.
But before I just give you the recipe, let's do a quick knowledge check. You see these materials on the screen? Which ones do you think you'd use for your seedlings, and which ones would you avoid? Just take a second and think about why. What does a tiny, fragile little seedling really need to thrive? And here's the answer. The perfect mix uses ingredients that each do a specific job. Coconut coir, or coco peat, is fantastic because it's sterile and holds moisture really well. Composted manure obviously adds those crucial nutrients. And sand makes sure that excess water can drain away so the roots don't rot. But pure garden soil all by itself? That's a huge risk. It can be full of weed seeds and nasty pathogens that can kill your seedlings before they even get a chance.
Okay, awesome. You've mixed the perfect soil. But what are you going to put it in? The container you choose is just as important. Different plants have very different needs when they're starting out. So, on the screen are 4 common plants. Can you match them up with their ideal starting container?
Here's how the pros think about it. Tomatoes are pretty tough. You can sow them all together in a seed tray and then just separate them when you transplant. But beans? Oh, they hate having their roots messed with, so they need their own individual deep cells. Those teeny tiny lettuce seeds are way easier to manage in cell trays. And super fast-growing radishes, they don't even need a nursery. They go straight into the garden. Matching the container to the plant avoids stress and just sets it up for success down the line. Okay, so we've picked our crop, we've got our quality seeds, and we've designed the perfect little nursery. Now, let's connect all those dots with a simple step-by-step action plan that you can actually follow.
And here's the proof of why all this careful prep work pays off in a big way. This quote comes from a trial that found using composted manure resulted in seedlings with substantially stronger roots. And a strong root system, my friends, is the foundation for a healthy, super productive plant. That's the result we're aiming for.
So let's put this all into practice, shall we? Let's say your goal is to have 50 healthy tomato seedlings ready to go into the garden on November 1st. How do you plan that? Simple. You work backwards. You'll sow your seeds around the first week of October. You'll use cell trays to make handling them easy, and you'll create your growing media with 2 parts coco peat to 1 part compost. See? It's a simple, repeatable blueprint for a success.
So let's just trace our steps back for a second. We started with a smart, data-driven choice of what to grow. Then we locked down our foundation with quality seeds, and after that, we built the perfect environment for them to thrive. The key takeaway here is that successful growing isn't about luck, it's a system of smart, deliberate choices. The most important work you do happens long before you ever see that first little green sprout.
We've laid out the entire process for you, from doing market research all the way to mixing the perfect soil. You now have the fundamental blueprint for turning a high-value seed into a strong, healthy seedling. So, the only question left is the one you see on the screen. The next step is yours.